This is the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN. A warm and sunny day here in South Florida. Temperature in the mid-80s as we approach kickoff. First meeting between these two since 2010. They're in different divisions of the ACC, so they do not play each other every year. Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers have won 9 straight games dating back to last season. He was a winner in his first head-to-head matchup as head coach against Miami. Lost the last time they played. That was in Death Valley in 2010. Al Golden under pressure. He said, I can't think about it. All we can try to do is win each game and worry about the end of the season and the future when that arrives. It would be a big win for him today with an eye toward job security.
I absolutely think it's a statement game for Miami to propel them into the future.
John Semarine kicks off for Miami. Low bouncing kickoff. C.J. Fuller for Clemson. Chopped down shy of the 20-yard line. Here comes the Clemson offense led by Deshaun Watson, sophomore from Gainesville, Georgia. 10-1 as the starting quarterback, the only Clemson quarterback ever to win 10 of his first 11 starts. He leads the conference in touchdown passes. He's a winner, and as Dabo Swinney says, he can beat you with his arm, his legs, and his mind. A great team leader. Outstanding in preparation, leading a team averaging 35 points per game. Wayne Gallman runs into Jawan Young. Gallman, their leading rusher, and Young in for the injured Raphael Kirby. A big loss for the Miami defense. Their senior linebacker and team captain went down last week for the year with an injury against Virginia Tech. Quick throw now by Watson out to the near side. And a gain across the 35-yard line to the 36 to Ray McLeod.
That's just their running game outside, Sean. Look for Ray McLeod and also number 3, Artavis Scott. Miami has to do a good job of tackling in space to slow this offense down.
Gain of 14. Now back to the run with Gallman. Tough run, and then he got blasted at the 43-yard line by the hard-hitting safety Deon Bush.
Well, an outstanding fill by the safety, and this is what you need for good run support. And I love the fact that eyes are up. That means the head up, and he brings his feet. Good, safe tackle by Bush. Gain of 7.
2nd down and 3. Clemson going quickly, and a complete pass it into Miami territory. Goes Sharon Peak. Just his 12th catch of the year.
A beautiful recognition right there by Watson. A 3-deep coverage. The weakness of that coverage is in the flat. He saw and delivered the football.
Good tempo by Clemson already across midfield. Less than a minute and a half in. Mixing the run and the pass. On 1st down, it's a run for Wayne Gallman to the 44 before he's driven back. Tyreek McCord led the defense. Here's Todd.
Well, so far it's just really a numbers game. However, Miami chooses to match up. If they're going to put an extra guy in the box to run, they're going to throw it outside and force him to tackle in space, and vice versa. If they move a guy out in coverage, then they're going to run the football.
Says something about the intelligence of Deshaun Watson.
Gallman weaving his way close to another 1st down. Artie Burns, another tackle. Junior corner from right here in Miami.
And one thing that Miami's going to have to do is disguise what they really want to do, their intentions pre-snap, in order to throw some curveballs at Watson.
3rd and 1 and a 1st down. Gallman straight ahead. Dabo Swinney says one of the many things he's pleased with so far this year, Chris, when the defenses have come up to the line of scrimmage and dared them to throw it, they've been able to throw it, as was the case against Boston College last week. And they've actually been able to run it when that's what the defenses dictate. Nice little screen here to Jordan Leggett, the outstanding tight end, who walks into the end zone with a touchdown. Very impressive opening drive for Clemson.
I've never in my life as an analyst or a player seen 5 offensive linemen down the field as a trick play. They don't go. Miami thinks the ball is snapped and they were offsides, and 5 offensive linemen running down the field clear with a great trick play by Clemson in execution to Leggett for the touchdown.
82 yards in 8 plays in less than 3 minutes. 34-yard touchdown pass. Extra point up and good from Greg Hugel. Leggett's touchdown, already his 6th of the season, and the 15th thrown by Deshaun Watson.
Boy, deception as a weapon. The ball's going to be snapped, but none of the Clemson offensive linemen move. Miami thinks they're offsides. They stop their pass rush. Now you have 4 lead blockers down the field. Leggett just has to make one guy miss, and it's an easy 6 points. But that's what Clemson does. They hurt you with the run, the pass. They always have something deceptive or tricky in their game plan. You can't ask for a better first drive. It's just beautiful on the road. Outstanding effort by the Tigers.
You saw Leggett, now the first tight end in Clemson history to catch a touchdown pass in 5 straight games. Ammon Lacob's kickoff, down by Mark Walton. So here comes Miami, led by Brad Kaya, sophomore from the Los Angeles area, West Hills, California. Was the rookie of the year in the ACC last season when he threw for more than 3,000 yards. And he's leading the ACC in passing this year comfortably, 346 yards ahead of Everett Golson of Florida State. He's on target on his first throw of the day to Stacy Coley for a gain of 5 with Ben Boulware, a linebacker, in coverage.
Sean, they're going to go after Mackenzie Alexander sometime early in this ball game. They believe he's susceptible to a double move. So if they get a matchup they like on that young man right there, they're going to try to exploit it.
Movement before the snap. Saw Kaya bob his head. Hard count, and Scott Pagano came across.
Offside. Defense. 56. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Second and less than a yard. Pagano, sophomore from Honolulu.
Anxious. It's a good move and a good call. Get an over-pursuing defense, effort defense, hard count him.
Nick Linder, the center, took the hit. Kaya throws wide and short. Stacy Coley, the intended receiver. Interesting call on 2nd down and 1.
Chris was talking about that matchup, trying to find something. They've got Coley, number 3, Stacy Coley, their vertical receiver, matched on him right now. Mackenzie, number 2, the cornerback.
They have no safety deep, Todd, so if you want to attack, and he's in press coverage right here at the top of your screen, if you want to attack, right now's the time.
Miami has struggled on 3rd down. Not this time. Joseph Yerby finds a hole, crosses midfield, and gets swung down in Tiger territory at the 44-yard line. Kevin Dodd, the defensive end, ran a long way to take him down after pickup of 22.
You know, the inconsistent part of this Miami offense has been lack of running game right there. The offensive line did a nice job.
They've been dreadful on 3rd down, and Clemson's defense has been outstanding. Only Michigan's played better 3rd down defense this year than Clemson. Dodd, another tackle on Yerby after a gain of a yard. 2nd down and 9. There are the numbers. Miami, one of the worst in the country, but better the last 2 weeks at Florida State and here at home last week against Virginia Tech. Clemson great on 3rd down defense all season long. After the play fake, Kaya has time and has his man. It's Stacy Coley again. James Coley, the offensive coordinator, no relation, says Stacy Coley is a difference maker, particularly down the field, and that's a gain of 21.
Well, this is a nice little rub route. They're going to get man-to-man, and Stacy Coley's going to come off for Sean Green's pick, basically, and run a nice wheel route. And the intelligence and recognition of Brad Kaya and the patience to let that route develop was outstanding. That's a big part of their passing game, Sean, that little play action, slant, and takeoff.
They're down the field passing attack. Yearby stacked up with the line of scrimmage. They're going to keep trying. Al Golden said yesterday we need to run the ball 30 times. No matter if it's working well or it isn't, we think we can run the ball a lot better. And at the very least, we need to run enough to keep the defense honest.
Yeah, I'd like to get about $150 out of those 30 carries, too. And I don't know if they're capable of doing that against Clemson defense, but enough to set up the last play that we watched was that little play-action pass.
At Florida State, a game they nearly won, they rushed for only 20 yards on 19 carries. A little bit better last week, 99 yards against Virginia Tech, but that was on 39 carries. They are in field goal range, trying to answer the opening Clemson score. Kaya in trouble and sacked. For just the 8th time this season, Shaq Lawson, the junior from just down the road from Clemson, from Central South Carolina. Another sack.
Another guy Todd McShay loves. I love him too. Shaq Lawson does a great job of avoiding the block of the pulling guard Joe Brown with quickness, and Toddy's able to finish.
Yeah, they're going to have a better plan. I thought coming in, double teaming, chipping with running backs and tight ends. They've got to give their tackles help, and pulling a guard out and trying to hit in space, it's just not going to work against their best defensive line.
He's just total effort guy too. You watch him all game, he'll give you everything he has every down.
Flag down. I believe Clemson was lined up offside. Throw to the end zone intended for Coley, and it's broken up by the safety T.J. Green. But it looked like along the right end of the defensive line there was a Tiger lined up in the neutral zone.
Offside. Defense. Number 50. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Jabril Robinson identified by Ron Cherry, backup defensive tackle, redshirt freshman.
Miami's had trouble, Sean, of finishing down in the red zone. Settled for way too many field goals. They got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone. And Kaya told us he needs to be more precise with his reads and anticipate better.
He said that's the biggest area he can improve in the red zone passing game. He throws, and right on cue, he throws an interception. Picked off by Jadar Johnson. And he's tackled at the 16-yard line by Herb Waters. 10-yard return by Johnson, his 2nd interception of his junior season. And just the 3rd turnover committed by Miami this season.
It's a mental error right here. He has Coley sitting down. Take the sure thing. Does not see Johnson come over, who's playing the play. They watch film also. They understand they like the wheel route off of that. Jadar Johnson keeping him balanced and doing a good job of returning.
Really unlike Kaya there. You know, usually in the tape we've studied, he sees the entire field and knows when guys are coming over the top in coverage. Not like him. He's going to have to bounce back quickly from that one.
Red zone struggles continue.
Just the 2nd interception he's thrown this year. Wayne Gallman bounces off a couple of hits, keeps driving the pile. We're going to mark him down back near the 21-yard line, it seems, for a gain of about 5. Miami came into this game plus 13 for the season in turnover margin, best in the country. Only Florida State, with 1 turnover all year, had committed fewer entering today's action than the Canes. Sharon Peak has the first down. Artie Burns never did get him down on the ground. Tempers flaring, and there was some woofing on the field before the game as well. The teams had to be separated. That happens from time to time. But there are a number of South Florida players on this Clemson team. A lot of these players familiar with each other. Gallman will check that. It's Watson on the keep. He fooled everybody, the defense and me, and he may score. He's banged out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Corn Elder saved the touchdown. They'll mark it out at the 8, 1st and goal.
Patience when you run the zone read. Watch him ride this in there as long as he can. You have Mohammed, number 8, sucking down on the dive when he has the quarterback. And then it's just free sailing because Artie Burns fell down as the only defender out in the field.
62-yard run for Watson. He's their second leading rusher on the year, behind only Wayne Gallman, who just carried to the 5 before he got banged back by Tariq McCoy.
You see number 26 also coming down late for Miami is Rayshawn Jenkins. He's responsible for the quarterback. Do your job. Don't do anybody else's job, because bad things happen when you don't do your job and you try to do too much. Mark D'Onofrio has to get him on and get him corrected.
Gallman, that was way too easy if you're a Miami fan. Touchdown for Wayne Gallman, and a very impressive start for the Clemson Tigers. And a late flag thrown after the touchdown. It might be for some unsportsmanlike conduct.
Just can't match your tempo, Sean. They're not even close to being in the same speed as Clemson.
After the play, which was ruled a touchdown, have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 51, defense.
Jawan
Penalty
Young
will be administered on the succeeding kickoff.
Al Golden, so optimistic when he talked to him yesterday. Said his team gained a lot of confidence even in that loss at Florida State. So we went up to Tallahassee. I don't think we had 65 guys on the travel team who really believed we could beat Florida State. We came back, we had 65 guys who knew we could beat Florida State, really should have. They led in the 4th quarter. They played well last week against Virginia Tech. They've given up 2 touchdowns and 2 Clemson possessions and turned it over in the red zone. They had the ball. Drives of 82 and 84 yards for the Tigers, and a 14-0 lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers, who would like to remind you that right now it's engagement season. The Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito big boxes. Grab them at Taco Bell. And New York Life, here to help you keep good going.
Clemson Tigers ranked number 6 in the country. Team with high hopes to be in the 4-team college football playoff at the end of the year. Very impressive start. 6:53 to go in the opening quarter, already ahead of Miami 14-0. And after the penalty against Miami, Clemson's Ammon Lacob will kick off for midfield, and this is the situation where if you had a little trick in on the kickoff, a squib, a sky kick, you might use it. Instead, they'll just bang it through the back of the end zone and make Miami play the long field. Miami drove on its first possession, but Brad Kaya threw an interception in the red zone.
Yeah, if you're going to fool Kaya, I should say, then you better do it with a really good coverage look. They blitz the cornerback off the edge, Tankersley. Then they're going to rotate their other defensive back over, and then the safety comes. As a quarterback, you're reading the blitz first, then the cornerback, then the safety in this instance. He doesn't see the safety until it's too late, makes the throw when he shouldn't have made the throw. He'll learn from that mistake. Still a young quarterback, but a very wise young quarterback.
Yeah. Todd, Jadar Johnson had a great read. He was playing the route, wasn't playing the safety position, but actually jumping routes from a zone defense, which I love, and which you can tell that Brett Venables coached them to do that.
Joe Yearby, and the crowd groans as once again the running game gets nothing. B.J. Goodson and Ben Boulware, the 2 leading tacklers for the season, combined on that stop for Brent Venables, leader of the #1 defense in the country a year ago. In total defense, they led the nation in 11 different statistical categories, lost 8 starters, but here they are playing great defense again, which is a credit to the way they recruit and coach, the depth, but Brent Venables is terrific. Yeah,
there's really not much difference, and all the guys look the same. They're definitely one of the all-bus teams. They get off the bus, you know they're a good-looking bunch, and they play like it.
4-man rush, time for Kaya. Takes the check down to Joseph Yearby. He's down at the 30. Carlos Watkins made the tackle. Venables came to Clemson to start the 2012 season, took over a defense that was ranked 70th in the country before he arrived from Oklahoma. Gradual improvement the first couple of years, and now he's leading dominant defenses. Great players, well coached.
And they have dominant defensive lines if we break it down by position. You think of all those guys last year and this year, these guys are getting great production, especially for the defensive ends.
It's early in the game, but Miami needs to make a play. Kaya throws off his back foot, and it is a catch, and a big one for Rashawn Scott. They needed a play, and they got one from their leading receiver, Scott, for a 9-yard gain and a first down.
Well, good job by Scott coming back to the ball. Knowing his quarterback's in trouble, under pressure, cannot get enough power on that football. You work back to him. Excellent scramble, Joe, by Rashawn.
James Coley was saying yesterday, one of Kaya's many strengths, he can throw from all kinds of different arm angles on the run, doesn't need to have his feet set to make a good throw, and you saw it there. He is chased out of the pocket by Austin Bryant, a true freshman, and then throws it away.
You know, the one thing he's going to need today is mental toughness. You're down 14-zip, you threw a pick in the red zone, and he doesn't panic. He's a mentally tough guy, and he's got to be able to bring his team back.
And don't forget, they were down 17-3 against Florida State, and Sean mentioned they battled back, and they had a couple chances with drives at the end of that game to win it. Kaya, because of the way they throw the ball dominantly, I think this team is built to come back, but you're right, they need to get things going quickly.
And probably need to outscore Clemson today, a difficult task against this defense, but the Miami defense has not been stout, to say the least, so far. Year beyond 2nd and 10. Gain of about a half a yard. B.J. Goodson again, the 5th-year senior from Lamar, South Carolina, the same hometown as the former Clemson star, Levon Kirkland.
Great Pittsburgh Steeler. One thing about Levon, he played the middle linebacker position at 275 pounds. And he played it like he was 230. Just a tremendous football player. Very underrated player, in my opinion. Always
probably
admired.
A couple of cheeseburgers away from 275 during your playing days.
Depending on what time of year, yes, you're right.
3rd down and 9. Kaya. That is a free ball for the moment as he got walloped by Kevin Dodd. They're calling it a fumble on the field and a recovery by Clemson's Richard Yeargin.
Pad level, pad level, pad level, speed. Pad level, pad level, pad level, speed. Look at that. Look at that little dip right there. Gets underneath Danny Isadora with a rip. And Dodd is a self-made man. Brent Venables told us he came in. He was horrible. But look at him now. Just a tremendous pass rusher and effort and technique. Dipping that right shoulder, running the hoop, and being able to finish.
That the pass was back, was humble and loose. That play is under review.
The only complaint I have there, Sean, Yeargin could have picked that up and run because you had big number 1, J-Ron Kurz, coming out looking like 6 points in his eyes. And when you don't have anybody around you, trust your athletic ability. Pick it up and go.
Jack McElwee is the replay official. Bill Hanlon, the replay communicator, with Ron Cherry on the headset today. And I think the important thing was, even though it looked like Kaya's arm was going forward, the ball went backwards, and they ruled it on the field a backward pass, a lateral, therefore a live ball. And my guess, Chris, would be that this call will stand, and it'll be the 2nd turnover in the quarter for Miami, matching their total through the first 6 games of the season for Al Golden.
That's how they've been able to survive and stay in games, is that the turnover margin being number 1 in the country. And when you start giving the ball away to Clemson, I got news for you. As everybody knows, Clemson doesn't need any help. They're pretty good. So I'm about 50%. This ball's backwards. Even from that angle.
Well, you mentioned Dodd. It's rare to hear. Here's Ron Cherry.
Determined that the pass was forward and incomplete. Therefore, we have 4th down and 9 at the 40-yard line.
Now I'm below 50%.
Well, let's see. Does it go forward? He's
Well, I guess it does go forward from that angle.
Conclusively so?
No, no, but, you know, like I said, I'm terrible at this. I'd never be a replay official. I'm awful.
Well, I was under the impression the replay booth is supposed to correct basically obvious, glaring, egregious errors, but apparently, you know, with all the technology they have, they had enough to deem conclusively it was forward. Now it's a punt, and not a good one for Justin Vogel. Yard punt. But it's not the worst thing that's happened to Miami in this quarter. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Well, yesterday, members of our technical crew went and shot some video at South Beach. Somehow it took them 8 hours to shoot that 30 seconds of video. Don't know what they were doing down there the rest of the day. Ray McLeod takes the swing pass to the 46-yard line. Flag down on the play. If it stands, it's good for a gain of 7.
It's not personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 6. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jamal Carter, backup safety, junior from Homestead, Florida.
Another issue that Coach Golden's teams have had is penalties. And that's one that could have been avoided, although he didn't grab it with any malice. Still got to be aware of where your hands are and get it off.
Clemson leading 14-0. Watson handed it off to Wayne Gallman. Miami can't stop anything. And it's a first down just shy of the 20. Jermaine Grace made the tackle, and you can really see how the injuries, Chris, to Raphael Kirby and Darian Owens, their top 2 linebackers, have really hurt.
Yeah, they're struggling with gap responsibility, and quite frankly, they're getting blown off the football.
Travion Thompson pinballed around at the 15. 3 yards short of another first down. 8th catch of the year for the redshirt freshman from Durham, North Carolina.
Interesting on that play, Sean. The offensive line run blocks, but the ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage so they can get downfield and cut off that second level pursuit because they're downfield.
They've done a very nice job of play calling. Tony Elliott calls the plays. Co-offensive coordinator with Jeff Scott. They had big shoes to fill. Chad Morris left to become the head coach at SMU. Watson to keep. And the first down for the Tigers at the 11-yard line. Jermaine Grace made the stop. Ten and a half yards per play. They're poised to take a 3-score lead here with under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. That's no surprise to the Miami coaches. They expected that Clemson would be about 60% run. Now an option look and the pitch to Gallman, and he's close to the end zone. They're going to mark him short, but I believe he has the first down. Officials still haven't spotted the ball. Artie Burns saved the touchdown.
They gave up a touchdown to Virginia Tech on this speed option play. This is the second time they've run it down in the red zone. And to me, Miami has not fixed the problem. You have to have a man on a quarterback and a man on a pitch, and your corner has to beat the block of the wide receiver.
Yeah, the corner's a big problem, Chris. All day long we're seeing they're just absorbing blocks and making sure they contain outside. They've got to get off blocks and come tackle.
First and goal from the 1. Zach Brooks in, and he's in for a touchdown for Clemson.
You need to call those 65 guys up that thought they could beat Florida State. They need to show up. They're not here today.
And for a coach on the hot seat, this is the kind of performance in all candor that gets you fired. And you and I both have known Al Golden for a long time and think he's a very good football coach who stepped into a very difficult situation here. But this is a fan base that's used to winning and winning big, and many of them have run out of patience. Greg Hugel adds the extra point. Clemson trying to enhance its resume with an eye toward the playoff, and what's not to like about Dabo Swinney's team so far. Tonight on ABC, Ezekiel Elliott and the top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes trying to remain undefeated as they take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. That's at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on ABC's Saturday Night Football, presented by Walmart. Of course, the big news of the week. Ezekiel Elliott will be taking handoffs from a new starting quarterback, J.T. Barrett. Will start for Ohio State, and I know you and I have been saying all year we think that's the way to go. But who are we to tell Urban Meyer what to do?
Well, he should have. I think I will. He should have started him at the beginning of the year, and for this reason, because he runs the offense that Urban Meyer wants to run. Cardale does not run the Q run as well as JT. In that offense tonight, when you watch it, will run at a different pace and with more efficiency.
Little breezy here in the stadium. So the ball will be held on a tee for Hammond Lacob. Corn Elder back deep. Line drive kick into that wind. Elder from the 1. And out to the 27-yard line. Pleasure to be working, as always, back in the studio with Robert Flores. Hey, Roflo.
Hey, Sean, it's Taco Bell studio update. It's raining hard in Waco right now. You know that guy's Bears costume is kind of ripe right now. Seth Russell, touchdown run, makes it 14-0 Baylor. It's 21-0 Bears, number 2 in the country and playing on ESPN. Sean.
There's some nasty weather in that part of the country. Very pleasant here today in South Florida, 84 degrees at kickoff. Brad Kaya throws on target. 8-yard gain to Herb Waters. Adrian Baker, a backup corner, made the tackle. Redshirt sophomore. Boy, they're so deep all over the field.
Oh, it's amazing. That's a credit to Dabo and his staff about being able to reload. I mean, that's what people that want to be in the Final Four, they can replace guys with guys that look like the guys they just replaced. And that's exactly what they've done. He's got it going.
Pistol formation now. 2nd and 2. Mark Walton gets a yard, and that's about average for their running game again today. Dorian O'Daniel, he's a sophomore, made the tackle for Coach Venables as we tick down to a minute left in the first quarter.
He's very good at those signals too. There's no mistake. Very demonstrative. I love it. As a linebacker that used to have to take those shots, I want to be able to see that. You make sure you understand what he's calling.
That last signal is very interesting. We have to find out what that means after the game. Mark Walton, the ball carrier for a first down. When is Brent Venables going to be a head coach? And he did a very nice job for a number of years for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, and we've documented the work he's done here. Terrific guy. I think it's a matter of time and probably not much time.
When you can get players to play at a high level on a consistent basis, that's the difference between a good coach and a great coach. And to me, what he's done with this defense over the past few years compared to what they were, it's not even close.
And 1st and 10. Pass juggled in the flat by Stacy Coley. He's out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
Kaya getting up a little bit slow. He does avoid a lot of hits because he gets rid of the ball quickly.
And he's tough. James Coley told us yesterday the number of times he comes off the field and they say to him, "Are you okay?" And he always just shrugs it off. The end of the first quarter. Miami limping toward the second quarter. Down 21-0.
I love myself. I want you looking at me. Oh, tell me what you see. I love myself. Illuminated by the hand of God. Boy, don't seem shy. I love myself.
Welcome back to Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. Clemson trying to drive toward the ACC title and a national championship. 6-0 as they arrive in South Florida today, dominating the U through the first 15 minutes, leading 21-0. Miami's ball, 2nd and 5. So the Canes 44. Wildcat Joseph Yearby faked the handoff, trying anything to get a positive run, and that play dropped to the line for no gain. There's Dodd again. You mentioned it. I don't know if I've ever heard a coach be as candid as Brent Venables was, saying he was terrible when he got here, but he worked hard every day. And a lot of times when guys are waiting behind great players, as Dodd was, they don't do everything they should do. He said he paid attention, he worked hard, and he was ready to go when his turn came around.
And in fairness to Dodd, he only played high school football for 1 year. Now he's got a chance, because of his hard work and good coaching, to get a look for the NFL when it's time.
Only 2 men rush, and they still get to Kaya. Shaq Lawson planted him back at the 36-yard line. They dropped 1 man out of the rush. They started with 3. They wound up rushing 2, and they still get a sack.
Just the Shaq attack, and it's all about effort with Shaq Lawson. Now watch this. First of all, it's explosion. Nice little move inside. Help is late coming over by Alex Gall, and Shaq Lawson accelerates to the quarterback.
And he has power, he has quickness. I love, you mentioned it earlier, he plays hard. He played 292 snaps coming into this game already this year.
The 2nd sack today. Justin Vogel a punt. Martavis Scott watches it bounce, and it takes a good bounce for Vogel and Miami, and out at the 15-yard line. 49-yard punt. 21-0 Clemson. Here's a look at the ACC standings entering today's play. Both Clemson and Florida State undefeated in the Atlantic Division, eyeing their showdown in 2 weeks at Clemson. Clemson goes to NC State before they take on the Seminoles. On the other side, Pittsburgh, Duke, and North Carolina all undefeated in conference play. The Panthers moved into the top 25 this week. 1st and 10, Clemson. Wayne Gallman for about 3. Ufamba Kamalu made the tackle. The medical staff paying attention to Brad Kaya on the sideline. He doesn't like it when they do that, as the coaches told us yesterday. It's very hard for him to admit when he's shaken up. Artavis Scott the catch, and he has a 1st down. Sean Watson now 6 for 6 passing to start the game.
Oh, it's just recognition, and Miami is helping them by the soft cover 3 coverage that they're playing. That means the corners are playing off, and they're having the flats and outcuts open all day. So he's just picking and choosing where he wants to go.
Dumps it off short. Stanton Seckinger, one of their tight ends, wrestled down at the 29-yard line by Jawan Young.
Yeah, Sean, we saw Kaya get shaken up on that play, and he got up and was limping. Now, he's a tough guy. He's as tough as they come. And that would be a huge loss for the Canes offense, obviously.
Gallman weaving his way across the 40. And another 1st down for Clemson. Dion Bush the stop. Todd, any idea what's going on with Kaya?
Well, right now they've got a bunch of guys standing around with towels trying to hide him, but what they're doing is they're going through the concussion protocol. For a while there, Malik Rozier, the backup, was just sitting around and hanging out. Now he's stood up, he's got his helmet on, and he's throwing on the sidelines, warming up just in case.
Another penalty. And again, this is plagued Miami all year, and these are things that drive a coach nuts, especially when they're self-inflicted.
Cortell Jenkins called for a face mask. 12-yard run, 15-yard penalty, and the ball with the Miami 44, 3 minutes into the second quarter. A blitz off the corner. Watson got it off for a short gain to the 40-yard line. Gallman tackled immediately by Jermaine Grace, junior from right down the street here in Miami Gardens.
That's what Clemson does, Sean. They hit you screen, 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 then they're over the top. Screen, 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 over the top.
They come after him again, and a screen set up for a first down. Gallman to the 32-yard line. Al-Quadin Muhammad made the tackle. Had to move a lot of people around on that defense for Miami due to injuries. Kaya apparently has finished the protocol. His opposite number, Deshaun Watson, is 9 for 9 to open the game. All day to throw. Down the seam and batted away by Deion Bush at the last moment to prevent a touchdown. Artavis Scott, the intended receiver. Well played by the senior Deion Bush.
Screen, 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 over the top. And this is a touchdown right here on a slant and go. Deion Bush got caught peeking. The ball's underthrown, and that's a dropped ball, one that he doesn't miss often. But he's a good enough football player to make that catch. But that's their offense right there in a nutshell.
Yeah, right. That should have been caught. Bush got there after the ball. On 2nd and 10 from the 32, Ray McLeod went in motion out on the wheel and spun out of bounds near another first down. Rayshawn Jenkins, the tackle.
They do a good job with their young quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and they only take those deep shots usually between the 30, so they don't put him in a situation where he can make a bad play that really negatively affects them.
McLeod again, and the Miami defense says that's enough of that. Corn Elder for about a 2-yard loss.
Todd talked about it earlier. The corners have to start defeating their one-on-one blocks, just like Corn Elder did, and said enough of just containing it. Let me do my job and also make the play. That's how you beat it. You got to get a little bit more aggressive and play some man-to-man to shut down some of these screens.
Initially a loss of a yard on the play. Watson 11 out of 12 passing, and the only miss was the drop in the end zone. Ray McLeod's been busy. Bush tackles him close to the first down marker.
Well, another true freshman, right? With Shake, with Bake, and put a move on Howard out in the corner to get the first down when he should have been stopped for a 4-yard gain.
Al Golden talking to the backup quarterback Malik Rozier, and we are told that Brad Kaya has gone to the Miami locker room.
Rozier, a strong arm guy. Coach Golden was very complimentary about his skill.
Going from bad to worse for Miami. Watson after the fake to Gallman. Ankle tackled at the 6 by Corn Elder.
See the defensive line of Miami with their hands on their hips. That's an indication of fatigue. And when you get tired, the one thing you do as a defensive line is play high, which causes you to be vulnerable in drive blocking by the offensive line.
Already had 2 touchdown drives that went more than 80 yards. This one's gone 80. Still 6 more to go. Gallman. You have to love his effort. He is constantly fighting for everything he can get out of every run. Fambu Kamalu made the tackle. Cortell Jenkins is the injured player for Miami. Started at nose today. He had been a defensive tackle for most of the season. Sophomore from Jersey City.
Let's talk about Gallman, Sean, a guy that had 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. Really shifty. Runs with deceptive power. But if you look at the complete package of what he brings, not only an excellent pass catcher out of the backfield, but the thing that Todd and I loved about him was his ability to pick up the blitz. Now, he just doesn't get in the way when he picks up blitz, but he really delivers a blow on his pass protection. That's why he's a complete back for the Clemson Tigers.
As Dabo Sweeney said, he got 103 games in a row, and it was against very good teams. 139 against Louisville, 111 in the torrential rain at home against Notre Dame, 115 against Georgia Tech. He's the first Clemson running back to have 100 yards. He's the first Clemson running back to have 100 yards in 3 straight games within the same season since 2005 when Reggie Merriweather did it. Jenkins being held off.
It's another area where the Miami defense is thin on that defensive line. Remember, now they're only playing with 79 or 80 scholarship players.
Still coming back from the scholarship reductions from the penalties handed down. And I think a lot of people have lost sight of just how huge a cesspool Al Golden and his staff waded into here when they took this program over. They're still battling back from the sanctions. In his 5th year, looking for the biggest win of his time in Miami. Seems unlikely to happen today the way this is going. After the trickery, the pitch to Artavis Scott, and a Clemson touchdown. 4 possessions, 4 TDs for the Tigers.
Really good play concept here. They motion the receiver over, and Burns, the cornerback #1, is going to go with him. Once they see it's man-to-man coverage and that the corner is going to follow the motion man, then they run the option back the other way. By the time Burns was able to get back into play, he had already turned the corner.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks for Miami's defense. They've yet to stop the option in the red zone.
Greg Hugel adds the extra point. An 85-yard touchdown drive, 28-0.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers. Brought to you by Walmart. Get ideas for your game time party at walmart.com/gametime recipes. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Nice day to be along South Beach. Not a fun day for the Hurricane fans at Sun Life Stadium, which is about half full. They're about to see the backup quarterback in the game for Miami, Malik Rozier. And he's going to take over with his team trailing 28-0. Touchdown drives of 82, 84, 61, and now 85 for Clemson. And then the Lincoln picks off, and Mark Walton brings it out from the end zone. Back to the 22. Dorian O'Daniel made the tackle for Clemson. And here's the last hit that Kaya took. A sack from Shaq Lawson. One of several big hits in one quarter that Kaya absorbed. Well, here's Rozier, redshirt freshman from Mobile, Alabama, out of Faith Academy. He's appeared in 3 games this year, the first 3 of the season against Bethune-Cookman, FAU, and Nebraska. He's not played in the last 3. 2 for 6 passing, has rushed twice for 4 yards. Mark Walton to the 26-yard line.
Got tested right away with a high snap. Coach Golden told us big arm on Malik Rozier. Well, he's got a lot of game to show us.
Good athlete, runs a 4.640. Very well liked within the locker room, according to Coach Golden, as a team leader. He's played some baseball at the U. And his pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Carlos Watkins, the redshirt junior from Mooresboro, North Carolina.
it doesn't matter who you have at quarterback, wide receiver, or running back. When your offensive line can't block, you're handcuffed offensively. This Miami group is young, and I get it. They're top 6 guys that they rotate in. You've got no seniors, 1 junior, all sophomores and redshirt freshmen outside that 1 junior. So they're going to get better, but right now they just can't match up against this Clemson defensive front.
They keep moving players around, trying to find the right combination. Goes here. Chased down by DJ Reader, who has returned to the Clemson defense this week.
Now, of all the defensive tackles by Clemson, he's the most talented. I mean, Brent Venables told us elite.
That's saying a lot.
You see the depth that they have, and that's the difference right now. You look at the talent levels. Miami does have talent. They just don't have the amount of depth that the Tigers have brought into Sun Life Stadium.
Justin Vogel on to punt. He's a transfer from the University of Florida. Artavis Scott back for it. Good kick. Scott. Artavis Scott across midfield. There are flags down. He's finally down at the 41-yard line. Dabo Sweeney called Scott a weapon in the return game, and he demonstrated why right there. There are flags down, one near the end of the play and one way back at the 34-yard line of Clemson.
Take a look at Artavis Scott. He's one of those guys as the hybrid. Percy Harvin made that famous at Florida with Urban Meyer. It's a receiver, shake and bake, and running back skills. Now, he did drop a touchdown, but he's still a very explosive player and very elusive in open field.
And another young player, sophomore, one of the Floridians on this Clemson team from Clearwater.
Those are the guys that Miami has to start winning on. When you see that all the talented players.
There's 2 fouls on the play. Have a block in the back on the return team. Face mask on the kicking team. Those penalties offset your re-kick.
Well, they have been winning on some. You know, the recruiting's hurt when you're recruiting young people who don't know what the future is going to be when they were learning the sanctions. Here are the Clemson starters who hail from the state of Florida. 5 of them. They have 10 players on the travel roster from Florida.
Well, that's been one of the challenges that Coach Golden has to deal with, Sean, because of the negative recruiting. Everybody does it. I mean, if I were coaching and recruiting against Miami, I would do the same thing. Hey, you don't know what they got going. Come here.
Right. And then you're recruiting with some other things going on. It's not like the old days of the Orange Bowl when it was close to campus and it was full and they clearly had one of the best teams in the country. Now you're trying to recruit young people to come play in this half-empty stadium. It's a long way from campus. It could be about an hour on the bus for these students. There's a great punt by Vogel. And out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Well, they were due to catch a break and have something good happen. Vogel, a 73-yard punt, bringing the biggest cheer of the day so far here at Sun Life.
I'm looking to get a new iPhone. Aflac.
Today's Aflac trivia question. When was the last time an unranked Miami team beat an AP top 10 team? Which is what they're trying to do today. Knock off number 6 Clemson as an unranked squad. Al Golden is 4-8 in his 5 seasons against ranked opponents. Vogel's 72-yard punt has Clemson at its own 1. 7 minutes to go in the half. Wayne Coleman bounced back after a gain of 1. Jamal Carter, the safety, up near the line of scrimmage to stop the run.
That's a good 8-man front call by Mark D'Onofrio. When you get your safety up there in linebacker position, his job and responsibility is to handle all cutbacks. Exactly what Carter did. Pin him down. You need field position to help your young quarterback and to help your struggling offense.
Blitz off the corner. Ballman again straight ahead. He gets wrestled and thrown down by Jawan Young.
Aggressiveness again on the call for Mark D'Onofrio. Jawan Young, belly-to-belly suplex. Ultimate Warrior would be proud.
The Young's played very little. He missed most of their camp with a foot injury. Was a backup to Raphael Kirby and thrown in out of necessity today. Big 245-pounder who can run. 3rd down and 7. Deshaun Watson, 12 out of 13 passing. That one's incomplete. Intended for Jordan Leggett. Jermaine Grace had coverage. And it's the 3 and out. It'll be the first Clemson punt of the day. They had scored touchdowns on their first 4 possessions.
There you go, the lesson right there. And I love the call. You have nothing to lose by the defensive coordinator, Mark D'Onofrio. You got aggressive on that play calling. Came after with blitz, tight man-to-man coverage. Did not give them any room to operate.
Andy Teasdall to punt. Almost standing on the back line of the end zone. Corn Elder waiting for the punt. Yearby managed to bounce off the pile. Gets a block on the corner. Herb Waters came back to try to help. Didn't do him any good. It's no gain.
Yeah, he's going to get them Adrian Baker right here. That's a tough position to be in as an oncoming defender, Todd. You get blindsided.
Yeah, it really is amazing considering all this team lost. The fact that there's so much speed on the field and size to go with it. I mean, they had 3 really good blocks there. It looked like Yearby was going to be able to turn the corner, and it's just next guy flying to the football. Remember, this defense from a year ago, talking about some big-time players going on to the next level. Vic Beasley for the Falcons is a first-round pick. Stephon Anthony, another first-round pick for the Saints. Grady Jarrett, really good player. Fell a little bit in the draft because of his size, but it is contributing for the Falcons in the NFL. And Tony Stewart for the Bills at the linebacker position. All those guys get drafted, and it's just like next guy up.
The Star Wars stormtroopers, man, the white helmet dudes, 8 of them go down. 8 guys just like them come in.
They lost 8 starters in their 10th in total defense this season. Rozier's pass incomplete. Thrown over the head of Standish Dobard. 4th down and 10 from the 41-yard line. Now Golden hasn't sent his punt unit out there yet, but it looks like they're going to go in punt safe mode on the Clemson side if the punter does appear, and Vogel is now trotting out.
Blown opportunity by the Canes. Great field position. 0 yards.
A good field position was set up by Vogel's punt the last time when he pinned Clemson at the 1, trying to do it again. And the line of scrimmage will be the 16-yard line. 25 yards on the boot for the junior from Tampa, Vogel. Here's today's First Pacific Life game summary. Deshaun Watson. Big rush early in the game. He's run for 72 on just 3 carries. We can update his passing now. He's 12 out of 14 passing. Shaq Lawson, 2 sacks. That was the first. His second one knocked Brad Kaya out of the game, apparently with a concussion. He went through the protocol and then left and went to the dressing room. Watson throws on 1st down. Jermon Hopper ruled an incomplete pass. He got planted and the ball came free, but it was whistled down for an incomplete pass.
This is a better job of Miami eliminating any room to run. And excellent tackling right there by Corn Elder. Head up is up, wrap up. Almost had a break. They need a break. They got to quit being almost. You have to have
very
something
close to a catch and a fumble, but ruled an incomplete pass. Zach Brooks in at running back. He's to the 21-yard line. So impressed by the play calling. It's very similar to what we saw under Chad Morris when they were one of the best offenses in the country, and that helped him get the SMU head coaching job. And Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott told us in the offseason they went through the last 4 years, looked at everything they'd done, and tried to basically reduce the playbook a little bit. Throw out the things that they didn't use very much or that didn't work well, just to give the players less to think about and prepare for. And if they threw things out, they still left plenty in. We've seen it already today. They have a lot in their offense, and it's all working today.
5 new starting offensive linemen, and it will expand, Sean, as the season goes on. When they start game planning, they add little quips here and there to help that offense be more effective than it already is.
Play clock running down, so Clemson uses a timeout with 3rd down and 5 upcoming. College football action continues tonight. A doubleheader on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern time. College football primetime presented by Hilton as number 15 Texas A&M taking on 24th ranked Ole Miss. Then at 10:30, the Washington Huskies in Palo Alto to take on the surging Stanford Cardinal, ranked number 10 after losing the season opener at Northwestern. That's tonight starting at 7 on ESPN. They're averaging, the Cardinal, 48.5 points per game since that loss. And when they lost that game, you thought, well, there goes any chance they're going to have of being in the 4-team college football playoff. Now, well positioned if they can win out.
Yeah, I predict them to be in it. I absolutely do. And in fact, I predict them to be in the championship game. I think they're that good and they're that balanced offensive, defensively, and special teams.
On 3rd and 5, the short drop by Watson, and it's well defended. Intended for Ray McLeod and batted down by Tracy Howard. And now a late flag is thrown in the defensive backfield.
And they did go solid man-to-man, and I believe you'll see the right arm hook the shoulder of Ray McLeod.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. Spot foul. 1st down.
Going to be up here at the top of your screen. 34 white, 3 on green. Working one-on-one. Watch the right arm's going to hook the back shoulder. Right there. He does not need to do that. He was in perfect position. You got to have the discipline as a corner to take your hands off the man. Trust your training.
It's a good call. It took a very long time for the flag to come out.
A little more aggressive on the defensive calls, though. No longer sitting in cover 3. Corners off. You have to get up and challenge these guys, or they will pick you apart.
With the game clock operator, please reset. 3 minutes, 43 seconds. 3:43. Thank you.
Mark D'Onofrio, the defensive coordinator, has been with Al Golden back to the days at Temple when they turned around one of the worst football programs in the country. And I know he's now your favorite defensive coordinator, since he told us yesterday that he wore number 36 in high school because that was your number when you played at Ohio State.
You know what that says? I'm getting old. That's all that says.
Zach Brooks runs to the 34. He also told us that the other night he was watching with his sons the NFL Network's series of Football Life, and you were featured, and it's a wonderful segment. I would encourage people to watch it if they haven't. And he said he took several clips from what you said about how to prepare to play the game and showed it to their linebacker group. And I know you're way too modest to even acknowledge that, Chris, but
well,
I think any coach would want his players to play the way you did. Unfortunately, that's a high standard not being met today.
I have a lot of respect for Mark. He was a fine player at Penn State, played for the Green Bay Packers, and a tough knee injury cut his career short. But I think all players and coaches, you learn from each other. You can always keep learning.
Brooks carried for a 1st down. Watson pulls it down and slides at the 45-yard line. Jermaine Grace nearby for Miami went down about 3 yards short of the 1st down. And the time becoming a factor now. The clock running. 2.5 minutes to go in the half and 2 timeouts left for Clemson. 79 yards rushing in the half for Watson. That pass is incomplete.
Good pressure by Miami right there, and that's what they need, because Watson, if you do not pressure or collapse the pocket and he has time to step into a throw, he will not do that. That time he couldn't step into his throw, which forced him to one-hop it to the first baseman out in the curl.
Another quick screen. And Sharon Peak broke a couple of tackles and has a first down at the 39-yard line. Credit Deion Bush with the stop after a gain of 16.
Again, Sean, they do such a great job of their linemen getting out on the perimeter and receivers blocking downfield. They put so much pressure on you. Eventually, you have to get your defensive lineman to read the offensive lineman, get on their back hip and chase.
And this is the simplified, scaled down playbook.
Yeah, it is. And they're expanding it. But when you execute, everything looks simple. Everything looks beautiful. And that's what they're doing now. They're operating so efficiently right now that it's fun to watch if you're a Clemson fan or a football fan of offensive ball.
28-0 Clemson. It's a Miami timeout, and we check in with Ro Flo back in the studio.
All right, Sean, number 21, Houston was struggling with 0-7 UCF, but Kenneth Farrow, go-ahead touchdown run. Then Greg Ward Jr. has just added another touchdown run. Houston is now leading the Knights 21-10 on ESPN News late first half.
There are 14 undefeated teams remaining in the top level of college football, including these Clemson Tigers. One of 6 teams receiving first place votes this week in the AP poll. Zach Brooks taken down by Jermaine Grace after a gain of 2. Under 2 minutes to go now in the first half.
Zach Brooks, a nice addition to that backfield. Spelling Gallman. Zach Brooks, excellent hands out of the backfield. Another dimension that you have to cover.
Battled injuries, might have been their starting running back, but Gallman's been outstanding. Brooks has been a very effective role player. Watson, a little pump fake. That got him about 5 more yards as he scampered out of bounds, shy of the marker by about 2. It'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 31.
His composure, understanding where you are in the field. Should not fall for that pump fake because he was across the line of scrimmage. Again, knowing where you are in the field as an offensive and defensive player, vital to execution.
Gallman. Another tough run and a first down. Finally taken to the turf by Deion Bush. Coming up at the half, stay tuned for John Saunders, Mark May, and the Capital One halftime report. All of the scores and highlights from around college football. In the option look, and they pitch it to Ray McLeod heading in the other direction. He lowers his shoulder as he collides with Artie Burns. First down, Clemson. Into the bag of tricks effectively once again. The ball now at the 10-yard line.
It's the difference in athletic ability, and it's going to show up right there. You see the little stick with the right foot, take it outside, outrunning Grace to the sidelines.
On first down from the 10, Watson couldn't find a receiver. Burns in the open field, and Watson spins down at the 6.
Two timeouts left for the Tigers. No hurry, but you got to get a little sense of urgency on what you want to do as they take one right here.
So one timeout left for Clemson. Tuesday night, don't miss the premiere of ABC's newest drama, Wicked City, starring Ed Westwick, Erica Christensen, and Jeremy Sisto. That's Tuesday night at 9 Central on ABC, right after Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ed Westwick, the star of the former CW drama Gossip Girl, which I know was big in the Spielman house.
Well, I'm surrounded by women who sabotaged my iPod. I was pleasantly happy to hear Beyonce blasted my headphones unexpectedly on a plane ride down here.
Really?
Yeah, so that's all right. I downloaded Born to Run album for them. They'll enjoy that, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, it's on now.
Spielman women are forewarned. Second and goal from the 6, right up the middle, untouched. Deshaun Watson. The 5th Clemson touchdown of the first half. heading for the exits. There aren't a lot of people here, but many are heading. You don't know if they're just getting an early start at the concession stands or if these people are heading out and not coming back. Greg Hugel, the walk-on, adds the extra point.
Flag down.
Well, the fans are disappointed, understandably so. I think Al Gold and his staff even more disappointed. They were very optimistic that they would play well today, and that has not happened.
After the PAT, have unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 92, defense. That is number 92's first unsportsmanlike conduct. That penalty will be assessed on the succeeding kickoff.
So when you're down 35-0, never should you get an unsportsmanlike conduct. The only thing you should do is put your head down, run off the field, and find your guts on the sidelines instead of talking a good game. I mean, you can't have it. They've been going at it all day. It's ridiculous, man.
As he mentioned, it started during the warm-ups on the field well before the game.
There you go. Got a lot of brave, tough guys with coaches and security between you. Love that.
And on the field, it's been chippy from time to time as well. Not outrageously so. Well, the good news pertaining to Jenkins is he was helped off the field earlier and looked like a fairly serious injury. He's back in the game. Long enough to not get a finger on the quarterback from 6 yards out, and then woof, apparently. The fourth drive of more than 80 yards for Clemson. The other one went 61. Lacup's kickoff is a touchback. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick, they've donated millions of dollars in scholarship funds. Our thanks to All-State. Malik Rozier, the backup quarterback, still in there. Throws intercepted. Cordray Tankersley. Now the defense has scored for Clemson. Third interception of the season for Tankersley. Junior from Beach Island, South Carolina. The pick six thrown by Malik Rozier returned 36 yards for the touchdown.
You almost think you had to take a knee or run the football to get out of the half. You got a young freshman quarterback in there, and I understand. Yeah,
I can't argue with the play. You're down 35-0. What do you have to lose except you're behind by 7 more points? But
well, the worst scenario happened. I mean, you throw the ball late and behind, and Tankersley's all over. It's pick six. Now it's 42-0 with his confidence shaken even more going into the locker room.
So they were going to come from behind when it was 35-0, but now they won't?
No, I want my young quarterback to go into the locker room with confidence and start fresh, not off a pick six.
Well,
I get both sides of the argument.
I think when it's going as badly as it is for Miami today, I mean, to surrender with more than a half minute left in the half is an even worse statement. Might as well take a chance down by 35, throw the ball down the field, see if you can make something happen. And I agree with you. You can argue both ways. Greg Hugel kicks the extra point.
Yeah, you think you got to create some type of separation. Well, Tankersley does not allow separation. And the other problem that you have right here is the ball's late. And if you're late on the ball thrown outside and you're late and inside, it's too easy of a play for Tankersley, and he's off and running. Taking it up to 42 zip. See that ball inside, Sean? You got to miss out and away. You got to throw the slider. Can't back him off the plate. I'm in baseball mode right now. Go Mets. Favorite team. Amazing Mets.
Oh, after your Blue Jays were eliminated.
What are you talking about? I've been a Mets fan my whole life.
Last week we heard you say my Blue Jays, so now it's your Mets.
Murphy hitting home runs.
The Clemson defensive score, by the way, was the 12th under Brent Venables. since he became the defensive coordinator prior to the 2012 season, but it's the first one on the opponent's home field. 10 of them had been at home in Death Valley, and one was in a bowl game. So it's the first defensive score on the road for Clemson under Coach Venables.
No.
What say you, Todd McShay?
I'm glad you brought up the point about the Mets and the Blue Jays. We're driving over here to the stadium this morning, and now all of a sudden he's a Mets fan. It's amazing.
What are you talking about, amazing?
I mean, for the last 4 weeks, you've been talking about the Blue Jays.
And when the Royals win the World Series, he'll say congratulations to my Royals. Mark Walton, the return. By the way, if you want to know, the last Clemson player who scored a defensive touchdown in a road game was Rashard Hall. 52-yard interception return for a score on the Heights at Boston College in 2010. And he's now working as a graduate assistant in Clemson's Student Athlete Learning Center.
Dabo's coaching him up hard, too.
Well, they won last week, but dropped one spot of the polls to number 6. I think on film and in person, obviously it's easy to be swayed by the domination we're watching today. This is the most impressive team I've seen this year.
I agree with you. We've watched some good teams, but as far as balance goes, offense, defense, special teams, run, pass, they have it all. And they have depth, which is important as you progress through a long football season.
Stacy Coley, the catch, a gain of about 4. Miami has a timeout, but they'll line up quickly. Coley had to go down to make the catch. They'll stop the clock to move the chains on a gain to the 49. Actually, they won't. He's just a little bit short of it, so they'll use the timeout. And Chris, I know we haven't seen all of the teams in the top 10 right now in the polls in person, but we've certainly seen all of them either in person or on TV. You watch the Clemson tapes getting ready for this game, you were impressed. They certainly looked the part when you watch them get off the bus. I mean, athletes all over the place, and they're executing beautifully and so well coached.
So when I break down tape, and like I did as a player, you're always looking for a weakness. Where can you attack? Where can Clemson be attacked? And I don't see one. They're strong on defense on all 3 levels. And off offense, when you have Deshaun Watson playing at a level that he's playing and the threat of running the football and Gallman pounding it, when they're balanced like that, they're a very difficult team to handle.
Barring a penalty, the last play of the half, Rozier, plenty of arm, gets it to the end zone. And it is batted down by T.J. Green.
Rozier's going to take a hit. Again, this is the relentless effort of the Tigers, and he gets sandwiched between 2 Clemson defenders, Christian Wilkins and Jurgen.
Halftime, Clemson leading 42-0. Stay tuned for the Capital One halftime report after these messages.
Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
And we welcome you back to ESPN on ABC College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. Clemson leading Miami 42-0 at the half. Before his team went to the locker room, here's what Dabo Swinney said to his Tigers.
You be who we are. You understand me? You be who we are. You don't be anything other than who Clemson is. You win with class. You lose with class. You got everybody out here. You got kids. You got ladies. This is Clemson. Everybody understand me? It ain't about them. It's about Clemson. You play the game.
We had a chance to listen to the rest of it. He told his team that might be the best half of football that he's seen. He wasn't, obviously, Chris, pleased with some of the extracurricular stuff, the woofing that went back and forth. And he doesn't want to taint what has been a remarkably outstanding performance through one half.
Well, what the fans got to see there is what happens inside of a locker room. Dabo just did it out on the field. And I think it's the right message to send, because things get hot and tempered when you're getting your rear end kicked 42-0. You want to avoid any type of conflict. The other thing it does, it sends a message to recruits, to parents of recruits, about what Clemson football is and what he preaches.
Well, it only sends the message if we air it. I'm not sure why they had to be on the field, but a lot of times in these locker rooms, players get distracted. It's hard to get everybody in the same space. He wanted to make sure that message got delivered while they had everybody's full attention. Joseph Yearby, the first carry of the second half for Miami. Carlos Watkins made the tackle for Clemson. He joined us late. The starting quarterback for Miami, Brad Kaya, injured in the first half. Apparently a concussion. Got hit hard on a couple of sacks. Malik Rozier has played in relief. Clemson scored in its opening drive. Miami looked like it might match. They drove into the red zone. Kaya threw an interception. It has not been a game since. Kevin Dodd blows up another running play.
Just no movement being created by that offensive line of the Hurricanes. And if you're Al Golden, what do you tell? We saw what Dabo was going to tell his team at halftime. If you're Al Golden, you got to go back to look at 0-0. Our character is going to be tested. We're going to find out who wants to be a Hurricane. All that rah-rah stuff, which doesn't mean anything if you don't come out and get something done and start executing and playing with great effort.
You know, we're told in his halftime radio interview, he said he wants to find out who's a fighter. Still have not been able to get the running game going today. Miami has rushed 15 times for 25 yards. Rozier's pass incomplete. Rashawn Scott had not turned around. Didn't know the ball was coming. And it's a quick 3-and-out for Miami to begin the second half.
That's on Rashawn Scott. I mean, that's the right read by the Q. That's the right read. You got to turn your head around, recognize blitz. When you have a safety so soft, sit it down in front of him, get the first down to move the sticks.
Fifth punt for Justin Vogel. Miami's had just 4 first downs. Ray McLeod back deep forward. It's a short kick, and McLeod makes a fair catch at the 42. Now today's AT&T strong performance. Here's Todd McShay.
We're going with Shaq Lawson so far, number 90, Clemson defensive end. Here you're going to see firing off the ball, outside in move. Great job of that inside arm to get inside leverage and then finishing. Then here you're going to see Miami tries to pull a guard to get out there. It's just not going to work. I'm telling you, Shaq Lawson developing into one of the most dominant defensive linemen, and at 6'3", 270, he's starting to look like a potential first-round pick.
Wow. It's early for you, Todd.
I know.
Wayne Gallman on first down. Gets 12 across midfield before he was tripped up by Jawan Young and Deion Bush.
You know, thing about when you have guys like Shaq Lawson and they have an inexperienced offensive lineman they go against, they take advantage of the offensive line's poor technique.
Sharon Peak, quick hitter, knocked out of bounds by Corn Elder. Gain of 7.
Boy, they are efficient, aren't they, Sean? I mean, they know what they do. They execute. They play at a high tempo.
They move the ball back 2 yards on the spot. So gain of 5 on first down. Gallman again just lowers his head and runs over some defenders. Young and Bush again. Gallman's over 100 yards for the 4th time this season. 109 yards rushing. 6 yards per carry. Redshirt sophomore. A lot of young talent on this team. Gallman again. Cortell Jenkins made the tackle. Mitch Hyatt, the mammoth left tackle, number 75, got rolled up on there, but he's fine.
True freshman. We see a lot of that around the country. A lot of true freshman tackles.
Another very highly touted recruit. He was a parade and USA Today All-American in high school last year. Arrived in January in time to take classes and be part of spring practice. Nice catch by Peak along the far sideline. They had no experience coming back on the offensive line. Ryan Norton was a returning starter, but he got injured early in the year. 6 combined starts entering the season, 3 of those for the right tackle Joe Gore, who's a first-year full-time starter as a graduate student. Jay Guillermo has been a very pleasant surprise. He's been the ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week each of the last 2 weeks. Gallman down to the 27-yard line. And high at the left tackle, the first true freshman to start at offensive tackle in a season opener for Clemson since 1944, Phil Prince. That doesn't happen very often. Just doesn't happen at all, really, at most places. Gallman surges ahead. And if the official on the near side of the field marks it, it's going to be a first down. The far side of the field, it might not be. It is a first down.
I just watched Rich Hyatt on that play as you were talking about him, Sean. He does a good job, and you can see big 75 of collapsing the defensive lineman Mohammed to create that space for Gallman to sneak through to get the first, but he never stops his feet on contact.
25 first downs for Clemson, 4 for Miami. Zach Brooks ahead for 2.
Well, you just get the feeling they're setting one up for Deshaun Watson to keep it and go. I mean, because Miami's going to get so committed after getting the ball shoved down their throats basically in about 8 straight plays that when they want Deshaun to keep it, they'll probably have some open space.
Watson on the 9th play of this possession in trouble. Throws on the run, incomplete. Ufama Kamalu had a hold of Watson, couldn't take him down. And then Rayshawn Jenkins broke up the pass.
Face mask. Defense number 92. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Actually, Kamalu, number 47, is the one that gets the face mask, and nothing intentional, but even when they get an effort play, it seems like something bad happens. A chance to get a stop.
Interesting lineup of games upcoming. Many of you will see on ABC Indiana or Michigan State. If it's not there, it'll be on ESPN2. Pitch back to C.J. Davidson. He has all kinds of trouble and falls on the ball back at the 21-yard line. His first touch of the day, and it didn't go well.
Good pitch. Just took his eye off. And a lot of times when you're fresh off the bench and getting your first carry of the day, you get a little bit anxious and you don't secure the catch first and foremost. We found out last week how important it is to secure the catch.
CJ's already graduated from Clemson with a degree in sociology. Rare lost yardage play. Gallman back in there. Tackled by Cortell Jenkins. And there's an injured Miami player. Chad Thomas, the defensive end, still on the field. Back in a moment. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Highest ranked ACC team in the country right now, one of 4 Atlantic Coast Conference schools in the top 25 this week. Clemson ranked number 6. Absolutely dominating Miami here in South Florida today. 26 first downs to 4. Miami's turned it over twice. They had committed 2 total in their first 6 games of the year. It's 42-0. Clemson driving again. Deshaun Watson. Out of bounds at the 12. 10-1 as a starter is Watson, and the only game they lost that he started was against Georgia Tech last year. And he played in only 18 plays of that game before he left with a knee injury.
He's a tremendous player. I love his poise. I mean, he's accurate. He does all the things you want to do, but his decision making's been outstanding. It's only going to get better the more games he gets.
Greg Hugel's been a nice story for them as well. So new to the program, he isn't even in their media guide. No bio. You won't find him anywhere. It's a 30-yard field goal. He's 9 out of 11 for the year. Made the team in tryouts back in the spring. 45-0 Clemson, middle of the 3rd.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by K Jewelers. Brought to you by new Gold Bond Ultimate Men's Intensive Therapy. Man up with Gold Bond. The Lincoln Motor Company and the 2016 Lincoln MKZ Hybrid. And Walmart. Get ideas for your game time party at walmart.com/game-time recipes.
We're back in South Florida on a pleasant day. Temperature in the mid-80s. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay, our producer Bo Garrett, director Mike Schwab, and our outstanding crew. 45-0 Clemson. Hammond Lincoln kicks off. Trayon Gray downs it. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with a superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. City of Fort Lauderdale, not far from Sun Life Stadium. Hard to say how long a drive it is because, as we found here the last few days, great variety of lengths of time it can take depending on the traffic and depending on which way the GPS sends you.
And the express lane being open, which was closed for a little bit yesterday.
Which, you know, I'm pretty sure you and McShay might have been committing a violation of the express lanes had there not been rules that were hard to determine. Braxton Berrios, his first catch, and Miami goes quickly after a gain of 7. Joe Yearby carries for the 5th first down of the day for Miami. Here's Todd.
And Brad Kaya, the starting quarterback who left the game. Miami doesn't give specifics on injuries, but I talked to one of their officials and said, hey, we saw the concussion protocol. They acknowledged that, and they said he will not return after reevaluating him during halftime.
Well, that's the right move. I mean, you're down 45-0. You got an all-star quarterback, and basically your offense, you want to protect him for the rest of the season. And your backup, Rozier's getting good reps, good valuable team reps, speed reps.
Second down and 10. Rozier's 3 out of 10 since Al Golden had to put him into the game for Kaya, who went 6 for 10 for 51 yards. Yearby dragged down to the 42-yard line. DJ Goodson, Christian Wilkins. They're down by 45. Largest deficit in 3 years since they trailed Kansas State 52-6. Is incomplete.
This is based off the timing right there. A lot of guys getting exposure, playing time. They're just off. Everything's off.
On 4th and 3, a punt for Justin Vogel. Fair catch made by Ray McLeod. 46-yard punt. Clemson back on the attack, leading 45-0. ESPN.com. New quarterback in. They don't want to risk any damage to Deshaun Watson in a blowout, so Nick Schuessler will get some experience. Redshirt junior from Grayson, Georgia, in Grayson High School, throws wide for Ray McLeod. That might be a lateral. And now the signal is incomplete pass.
Yeah, I think this is a good call right here. Let's see, the ball is thrown out ahead of Ray McLeod, and I do think that's a forward pass. He's trying to throw him open, and Ray just took it a little too wide and upfield.
Tyshawn Dye getting his first carry of the day, and he's happy to have the action. Tackled by Corn Elder. Redshirt sophomore Dye, just his 13th carry of the year for an 18-yard gain, his longest run of the season. They're going to play up tempo. And Dye is run down by Jamal Carter.
Yeah, not only, Sean, do you have a new quarterback, but you have a lot of new offensive linemen in there, so everybody's getting valuable reps. And, you know, it's not Clemson's job to stop Clemson. I mean, go up tempo, do what you have to do, run your offense, and make Miami stop you, especially getting your twos speed reps.
Taylor Hearn has come in at the left tackle. Schuessler's throw is short.
We obviously know the coaches evaluate every play. NFL scouts evaluate every play, and these are great opportunities to see who's going to give up on their team and who's going to fight. And I think, you know, you watch these fourth quarters of games when they're lopsided scores, and you're going to find guys, if they're still in the game, really what they're all about.
And not only that, Todd, but how they handle themselves in between plays.
Right.
Are they running to the ball?
Good
Are they
point.
giving great effort? Are they talking trash, or are they just playing football?
Justin Falcinelli, the backup center, is in the game. Schuessler across the line of scrimmage. And then taken down at the 38 by Chad Thomas. Starting defensive end who was injured earlier and is limping a little bit as he trots off again. Andy Teasdall is the punter. Just the second punt of the day for Clemson. Corn Elder didn't field it. Best play of the day made by the mascot, Sebastian, over there on the far sideline. Out of bounds at the 15-yard line, 47-yard punt. ESPN's Monday Night Football. Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens are in Arizona to take on the Cardinals, who lead the NFC West. Led by Carson Palmer. Ravens Cardinals Monday Night Football at 8:15 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Saw how important Carson Palmer was last year. They were rolling right along, and they were never even close to the same after he injured his knee.
Big need win for the Ravens, and John Harbaugh just struggling all year, losing close games, something that John's used to pulling out. So the Ravens need to find a way to get a victory on the road.
Malik Rozier's pass was caught by Stacy Coley. They're trying to pick up the tempo a little bit after a 6-yard gain. Mark Walton tackled by Austin Bryant. Miami's record keeping prior to 1980 is shaky at best. A lot of their notes say since 1980 because they just can't find a lot of their records from before 1980. But the largest loss Miami has suffered since 1980 is 53 points up in the Carrier Dome in 1998. By 45 today.
See, Clemson has a lot of their backups in. See if Miami can move the ball on them.
Here, nowhere to throw it. Shows that 4.6 speed Al Golden talked about. He runs out of bounds with a first down. Made it across the 25 with about a yard to spare. Chased out again by another true freshman, Austin Bryant.
You see right there, James Coley immediately in Rozier's ear, telling him good play. Anytime you have a young quarterback, you always want to pump him up whenever a good play happens. Just keep him engaged in the ball game and give him confidence.
Ron Cherry stopped the play for just a moment. There's James Coley, offensive coordinator. Also coaches the quarterbacks. Pressure on Rozier, and he will not get away. Sacked back at the 19-yard line.
Well, relentless by Brent Venables is a way to describe this defense. as you're going to have blitzing coming. There's a blitzing linebacker coming from the top. Austin Bryant also with a spin move. And number 30 for Clemson, Jalen Williams. They just keep bringing it. And again, you're getting your backups, Sean. Game speed blitzing is what you want. See Brett foaming at the mouth there a little bit. That's a defensive coordinator. Never letting it go.
Oh, boy. That's the 5th sack for Miami. And a big hit delivered by Richard Yergin.
Well, they're struggling on the offensive line. Either it's a mental mistake or it's a physical mistake. And Yergin's going to come just untouched right there. Nobody's blocking him, and he has, again, like most Clemson defensive linemen, the ability to accelerate to the quarterback and finish. And that's a mental error. I mean, that guy that close to the quarterback inside cannot come untouched in free run.
It's actually their 5th sack today for 30 yards against the Miami line that had given up only 7 all season long entering the day, second fewest in the ACC. Duke has given up 4 entering today's action. The Miami offensive line had only given up, Chris, 3.2 tackles for a loss per game. And that was the second fewest allowed. Only Toledo's offensive line has given up fewer tackles for a loss. But that line today has been dominated by the Clemson defense.
Well, yeah, and I see a couple areas where they struggle. I mean, their offensive linemen, in their technique, Sean, on the edges of the tackles, they cross their feet. And that's why Shaq Lawson was able to come outside, then come back underneath with a counter inside. And the other thing they all do at times is, as an offensive lineman, you can never lean forward or lunge, and they got bad habits. They're a young group that needs to pick up.
Rozier, a lot of time this time, looked around and found a man. It's Rashawn Scott, yanked down at the 26-yard line. Under 3 minutes to go, third quarter. And Miami will punt again, down 45 to nothing. If you're just tuning in, it was 42 to nothing. Clemson at the half. Justin Vogel, his 8th punt of the day. Into the debris. Fair catch made at the 35-yard line.
We talked about Shaq Lawson earlier and potentially developing into a first-rounder. A guy he kind of reminds me of is Ryan Kerrigan for the Washington Redskins. Just, first of all, straight line power and quickness. Not the fastest guy and certainly not the most athletic in terms of the edge rushers off the edge. But you look at all the NFL guys and the top sack leaders and tackle for loss leaders, more and more we're seeing the 265, 270, the 280-pound range. And that's what Lawson is. You look at Kerrigan, ranked 7th last year in sacks with 13.5 in the NFL. And I think Lawson's developing into that same type of player. And one common denominator, great motors.
Yeah, you know what I'm seeing too, Todd, from these guys, these more athletic defensive ends? Football instincts. I mean, they really understand the game, and they know how to change direction in mid-stride.
And this, we've talked about it all day long, but this defense for Clemson, all the guys that they lost a year ago, and you look around, Jaron Kearse, number 1, the strong safety. You talk to a NFL college director for an NFC team this week. He said he's like, lock him in. He goes, I know he's got to improve, and there's some areas where in coverage that he can get better. But when you're 6'5", and it's kind of like a Cam Chancellor deal, that we're going to draft him and bring him in and develop him, and he'll continue to get better.
C.J. Fuller, his second carry of this possession. He carried on first down. Then Seth Ryan caught a pass. And now Fuller, the first down, tackled by Juwan Young. Seth Ryan, by the way, who made the catch, his second of the season, is the son of Rex Ryan, head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Nick Schuessler with his second possession as the quarterback. Hendrick Norton made the tackle on C.J. Fuller. C.J.'s another freshman, redshirt freshman from Easley, South Carolina. Clemson has played 28 freshmen this year, 14 true freshmen and 14 redshirt freshmen. Only 2 teams have played more, TCU and Rice. Most of this team is very young.
know what that creates when you have this type of talent, and it allows you to create competition in practice to compete for playing time, especially at the running back position. Now, I believe they're settled in with Gallman, but when you want to get those backup guys or give Gallman a break, those guys are fighting for reps, so when they get in there, they run very hard.
Five-man rush on 3rd and 9, and the throw is too high for C.J. Fuller. After the Washington-Stanford game on ESPN tonight, stay tuned for SportsCenter at night, a post-game recap. They'll have a full breakdown of all the day's college football action. SportsCenter at night kicks off when the game ends on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Andy Teasdall, the punter, came to Clemson as a walk-on, first year as the starting punter. Flag down to the line of scrimmage. Good job by Teasdall. They'll mark it at the 10. 39-yard punt. If it stands.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield on the offense. We'll have a re-kick.
Hey, McDonough, I know how worried you are about the weather all the time, so you've got a little sprinkle coming in. Maybe it's
you should come
a slight front.
You should come in before you melt.
Looks like the darker clouds are rolling in.
Oh, it looks very threatening.
Stormy wanted to stop at Walmart for a poncho.
Oh, really?
Before the game.
Really, Spielman? You're going to go that angle as we're scrambling to get here on time because you forgot your tie?
Yeah, you stopped at Walmart to get Chris a tie.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't bail on throw anyone under the bus unless they start.
Teasdall punts again. It's going to roll down to just about the exact same place, the 10-yard line. Clemson has put the heat on both quarterbacks all day long.
Yeah, it's been relentless, Sean, and again, it's coming from even this one. This is the two-man rush, dropping 9, and Shaq Lawson could not be denied. Then once it gets going, everybody wants a piece because they know if you sack the quarterback 5 times, I want to get some. Right there, Jurgen was able to finish. Now, it also helps when you come on blocked, but you got to finish the play when you get there. And that man is drawing up some pressures and blitzes and mans and zones. Excellent coach, Brent Venables. Been a great addition for Dabo Sweeney.
Rozier. Great effort. They're going to rule that a catch for Christopher Herndon.
Nice job of laying out. And, that's a drop. Ball hit the ground. You're ready to bring that out. Good effort, though.
Well, it's the end of the quarter. Thankfully, they don't have to stop the play to review that. Maybe they'll look at it during the commercial break. Clemson dominating. Todd McShay enduring this monsoon as far as he's concerned here in South Florida. Welcome back to Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Clemson looking very much like a national championship caliber team. While we were away, the replay booth did overturn the call on the field of a complete pass and took away the catch from Christopher Herndon, and they put 6 seconds back on the clock. So we're still in the third quarter. 6 seconds to go. And now we're told they put 12 seconds back on the clock.
Hey, get it going.
A little more time for the comeback. Catch inbounds by Stacy Coley. And that will, we think, end the third quarter. Clemson outscored Miami 3-0 with a lot of substitutes on the field for the Tigers in that third quarter. We're going to stay right here since we already took our end of the third quarter commercial breaks. Vinny Testaverde here today. A lot of former Miami players are here. Many of them were honored on the field at the end of the third quarter, at least what we thought was the end of the third quarter.
Vinny's son, a backup quarterback here at the U. He's a great player. Really played for a lot of teams. Outstanding. You see Junior looks a lot like his dad. You know, they also introduced a guy that I had just great respect for when I played against him, Alonzo Highsmith. I mean, just brought everything, every play, and blocked you to try to kill you. Just beautiful football player. Loved playing against him, respected him because he did what he had to do to get the job done. Tried his hand at boxing, I believe, at one time. Alonzo Highsmith, a heavyweight.
Reggie Wayne among those here today. We're told this is just going to be a 30-second turnaround, and then they'll play the fourth quarter. And I'm sure all these former players, Miami fans everywhere, chagrined about where this program is right now. And so much speculation, Chris, about Al Golden's future. And if you're the athletic director and you're looking at this result in year 5 and you're looking at the stands and the negativity, you know, there are some Al Golden defenders, but certainly the tide has turned against him here in South Florida. It's a very rough day for Coach Golden and his staff. Rozier runs for the 19-yard line over the stadium several times this year. There have been banners flying. One before the game today. Our pilot has as many top 25 wins. I doubt the pilot has 4 top 25 wins.
Well, here's how I look at it. I think you got to play the season out. You have a good quarterback. You're going to get your full complement of scholarships next year. And I understand it's been struggling, but I do think there is potential with Al Golden. And I'm not rushed to judgment. I give him another year if they finish the season strong, Sean. I'm talking 9-3, 8-4.
The punt is muffed by Ray McLeod. And the Canes have it at the 40-yard line. Mark Walton. Jaquan Johnson with the recovery. Artie Burns also there. They did credit it to Jaquan Johnson. 42-yard punt, the first Clemson turnover of the game. Dabo Swinney upset. His biggest concern when we talked to him during the week was the turnover margin. Despite the fact they were 6-0 coming in, they were -1 for the year in turnovers, and he said sooner or later that's going to hurt us. It's not going to today. Rozier trying to turn it into points, and it's incomplete. Might have been off the fingertips of Herb Waters.
A nice throw. Again, after the turnover, field position, take your shot deep. And it is turned into a game of almost. That ball's got to be caught by Herb Waters. Got a little bump there at the end.
A lot of contact while the ball was in the air. But Dorian O'Daniel had the coverage.
Had both hands on it. Good throw by Malik.
Stacy Coley to the 35. Here's Robert Flores.
All right, Sean, this update here from Waco, where it has been raining, and Iowa State, has been hanging around. And for just the 3rd time this season, Baylor fails to score in a quarter. They're still leading 35-14, but Iowa State at least holding them in check in the second half. Right now on ESPN.
Eight catches here for Stacy Coley. Rozier. That one's dropped by Rashawn Scott. You can see Rozier's confidence growing as the game's going along. A little steadier. in the pocket, stepping into those throws. Of course, it helps that a lot of the studs on that defensive front for Clemson are no longer in the game.
Well, what he's starting to do, Sean, he's hitting his back foot and delivering. So the timing between the receivers and Malik as this game is going on is improved. And you can see that he does have young talent. He's a young arm, a strong arm, and he's getting more comfortable the more he plays. It's a good sign for Coach Golden and his staff.
Rozier across the line of scrimmage. Had a first down and gave it up for the moment, and then got shellacked along the boundary. I'm not sure he got back to the first down yardage. Van Smith, not even listed on the depth chart at the start of the day. Rozier's aware of who he is now.
He's trying to get on a depth chart with an effort hustle play like that, of making sure that Rozier did not get to the first down marker and bringing everything he has to the party at the end.
Timeout on the field. 13:11 to play here in South Florida.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Chris Spielman, Mac Brown, Todd McShay, 15 ESPN on-air people took part in a mock exercise with the College Football Playoff Committee. C.J. Davidson was the ball carrier for Clemson. He gets about 8. And they wanted to put you and the rest who were in the room through an exercise, just as the College Football Playoff Committee does every week when they meet to determine the top teams in America. Kelly Bryant is the new quarterback. He kept it and got stopped for no gain. What were the biggest things you took away from that exercise?
Well, for me, and I know what the committee is going through, a better understanding of the process, the thing that I liked, what it comes down to, is head-to-head. And anytime there was a tie-break vote amongst the committee, Sean, it always came down to strength of schedule. So that's a message being sent, I think, to teams, that you better schedule strong teams, because if you're in a tiebreaker situation, that's what it's coming down to.
Adrian Dunn, the catch for Clemson. Redshirt sophomore. Todd, you participated as well. What were your takeaways?
A good exercise to go through. I thought it was interesting, in addition to everything Chris said, that they take little things into, or big things, if you will, into consideration. We talked about Oklahoma State. We went back and looked several years ago in the situation they had.
It's going to be a touchdown for Kelly Bryant, the third-string quarterback. That's how deep this team is. He goes 59 yards for a touchdown. True freshman from Calhoun Falls, South Carolina.
As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the touchdown.
Ask him not to do that the next time.
Now, when Oklahoma State lost that game to Iowa State, when there's a tragedy with the plane crash, that they would take that into consideration, and just everything that is involved in a game and weigh it. So it was interesting just to pick their brains and go through their mindset and their process, and we get a better understanding for how intense of the entire process is.
The extra point is no good. Bryant celebrating the touchdown. It's 51-0.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers, who would like to remind you that right now it's engagement season. Pacific Life. For life insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Clemson now leading 51-0 after a 59-yard touchdown run by Clemson's Kelly Bryant, the third different quarterback to play against Al Golden's Hurricanes today. 3 Tigers have thrown a pass. 9 different Clemson players have caught a pass. 10 different Tigers have run with the football today.
Yeah, for 355 yards. And that, as a defensive guy, that's just been probably demoralizing more than anything else, Sean, when you can have a team pound you like that rushing the football.
355 rushing, 506 total yards of offense for Clemson. And Trayon Gray will not try to return the kickoff from Ammon Lacob. Here's a look at this week's Associated Press College Football Rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. And we've seen in the rankings week to week that there's a lot of movement week to week, even when you win. For example, Michigan State went up to number 2, didn't look very good in beating Purdue and Rutgers, and slid back down to number 7. I think this is the kind of win today that could vault Clemson up, even if those teams ahead of them win.
I absolutely do think so, Sean. I think it goes above Baylor, and for the reason that I talked about in the last segment about strength of schedule. A good win over a very good Notre Dame team, and what we thought was going to be a competitive game against a solid Miami team.
Joseph Yearby runs for about 7. Van Smith made the tackle with help from a true freshman, Jalen Williams. Well, if the playoffs started today, here's who's in according to you two. No surprise you have the Buckeyes up there. They could be 1-5, and you had them number 1. McShay agrees, and that's the only two things you two have agreed on all season long.
It's important to note that this was before the game.
Thank you, Chris.
And this Clemson team, to me, has been so impressive that if I were to reevaluate this like they do every single week, I would probably have Clemson in that top 4 and probably Baylor out just because of strength of schedule. Now, Baylor, of course, will have a chance to play back into it when they play Oklahoma, TCU.
Well, Baylor's the toughest team in the country to evaluate because they look phenomenal every week, and you know they're talented, you know they're really good, but it's hard to make an apples-to-apples comparison when you're watching even a TCU play a lot better competition.
Herb Waters was called for holding on the last play. That's why they brought the ball back, and there's Van Smith again. On the depth chart, they list 10 defensive backs in the 4 positions, and Van Smith was not one of them. He made the trip, obviously. He's out there, and he has been a factor.
Yeah, again, that's how you get on the depth chart. When you get in the game and produce. It starts with producing in the meeting room. Then it starts, you have to be able to produce on the practice field. Then once you get your shot in the game, make plays. And Van has made some plays.
Rozier. High throw, and Rashawn Scott got belted by Jeffrey Gibson.
This is on Rozier. Why? He sees the safety coming over. You cannot throw him inside. That ball has to be away from the safety, and it's a good job of Gibson avoiding the target or the head-to-head, getting his head out of the way and coming in with the shoulder. But his quarterback can help him out there, Sean, by putting that ball outside away from the safety.
As they tend to, Rashawn Scott will step aside with 10:41 to go.
But
back at Sun Life Stadium, Rashawn Scott, Miami's leading receiver, still down on the field. As you can see, they've brought the cart out. We have seen some movement in his legs, but it's been very hard to see much more than that given the crowd of medical personnel that have been huddled around him, just as you see now. He's a 50-year senior, one of the best receivers in the ACC. Melbourne, Florida, second in the ACC in receiving yards per game entering the day, behind only Tyler Boyd of Pittsburgh.
He's an important part of this football team, not only because of the numbers he puts up, but the leadership ability. And you know, when things go bad, they just go bad. And this is, you know, I hate to see anything like. I've been around too many of those situations, Sean, where you just hold your breath and hope ultimately that your teammate's okay. And a lot of times you just don't know until you get him in the locker room. There you go.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. That's good to see. It takes courage to play that position. I mean, we talk about receivers, and you know, a lot of them are divas, and they may be that way. But I'm telling you, it takes courage for you to extend your body in hands, understanding that you're going to take a shot. And that's exactly what he did. He was courageous going after that football. He was vulnerable because of where the ball was placed, and the safety did his job with a clean hit to try to separate him from the ball.
So they help him to the bench. It doesn't look like they're going to need the cart. That's great to see him up and walking. He is the only senior starter on this Miami team. We talk about the youth of Clemson and playing 28 freshmen. Miami has just 12 seniors on the entire team. And the senior class now part of that group where they had the big scholarship reductions. They just didn't have that many scholarships to offer. Now Rozier's pass is picked off by the man of the moment, Van Smith. He's making a late surge to be the player of the game. The third Miami turnover. That's one more than they had in the first 6 games of the year. And apparently Van wasn't on the field to hear Coach Sweeney's message about doing it with class as he gestures to the crowd on the way off the field. But give him credit for a fine play.
Outstanding coverage, deep as the deepest, and is there to play the overthrow and nice transition into the run. And a young guy excited to make plays, get an opportunity to maybe earn some possible future playing time.
He's a true freshman from Cornelius, North Carolina, another one of those who came in early in January to take part in spring practice. Tyshawn Dye, the ball carrier.
You know, now if you're Clemson, you might want to start thinking about just not snapping the ball until there's about 5 seconds to go on that clock. These guys got plenty of reps, I think, at the tempo that you want to run your offense.
Kelly Bryant is the quarterback. Dye again powers down for a first down. So we saw before that you guys would have in the college football playoff. You both agree Ohio State's #1, despite the fact they haven't really been impressive. Scott's walking around now without any assistance, trying to clear his head. I would agree. I think Ohio State, despite the fact it hasn't really won with style points, is still the most talented team in the country. I think this Clemson team isn't far behind. I still think at the end of the day, Alabama might wind up being back in this conversation a little bit more than they are right now.
That's exactly what I was going to say, too. I kind of put a note down on my notes. Can't put them in right now because of one loss, obviously. But that LSU-Alabama game we got coming up in a couple of weeks, that could very easily, the winner of that could very easily wind up winning the SEC and being in the playoff.
Now, I'm going to stick with my Pac-12 prediction of Stanford. I think they're the best one-loss team out there as Kelly Bryant takes it in again.
Oh, my goodness. Kelly Bryant, the third-string quarterback, with his second touchdown run here in the fourth quarter. And this might be, when it's all over, the worst loss in the history of Miami football. 10-yard run.
Statement by the Tigers. Yesterday, Al Golden and his staff were talking about this is a statement game for us. We think we're ready. Clemson wanted to make a statement, and they did.
Even Lacob kicks the extra point. Hugel missed the last one. You better perform at a high level on this team or you lose your job fast. It's 58-0. Welcome back to ESPN on ABC College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. Now Golden might be presiding over the biggest loss in the history of Hurricane football, the largest loss ever, 56 points, Texas A&M back in 1944.
Did not see this coming.
Nope, he certainly didn't. I think you and I have been in enough meetings with coaches where you kind of know guys who are believing what they're saying or just want to believe what they're saying. You know, he was firm. He really believed they were heading in the right direction after that game a couple of weeks ago at Florida State and last week as well. Trayon Gray, the return to the 25-yard line. Here's Robert Flores.
All right, Sean, over on ESPN, Baylor has not scored a touchdown in the second half. They did just add a field goal. Iowa State gets a touchdown. Joel Lanning to Jawan Wesley. The point after was no good. Bears did add a field goal. 5:28 left. They're up 18 on the Cyclones. Sean?
Holding them under 60.
There's still some time to go.
Yes, yes, it is. They are explosive.
Trayon Gray is the running back now, third string running back in there in the pistol behind Malik Rozier. He got chopped down by Van Smith, who is dominating the end of this game. We're told he is not listed on the depth chart. He is on the travel roster. Here's our Pacific Life game summary. Smith had not made a tackle all season long prior to today. We don't think he's taken a snap on defense. We're told by the Clemson sports information people he might have played some on special teams. Deshaun Watson, the starting quarterback, 1 of 3. He had 241 yards. Trayon Gray tackled by Jalen Williams. Van Smith has 5 tackles and an interception.
And big hits, too. Sound tackles. One preventing a first down by Rozier. A lot of times when guys get on, you know, with young players, Sean, coaches don't know what's going to happen when you put them in a game. Are they going to get starry-eyed and freeze up? Or are they going to let it loose? Van's been the man. Letting it loose. Communicating. Look at him back there. Combo coverage. Let's go.
Rozier. And that ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Chris Register knocked it down. Another guy who's not on the depth chart. He's a defensive end. And they have 6 of those listed on the depth chart. The 2 defensive end positions. Dustin Vogel punts. Tremont Hopper. Fair catch, 21-yard line. Here's today's Good Hands play brought to you by Allstate.
Sleight of hand for the Good Hands. See that? The ball snapped. The patience of the Clemson offensive line. The Miami guys, 5 of them rush in there. Delayed downfield blocking by that offensive line, and it's just a train to the house by Leggett. Fine tight end for the Tigers.
One of like 9 that they have.
They can beat you so many ways. I mean, fundamental football, running, passing. Then when they add that trickeration to it, makes them even more dangerous to stop and prepare for.
C.J. Fuller collared at the line of scrimmage by Demetrius Jackson. Vogel's punt went 52 yards.
He's had a big day today. Good day. Got the most cheers, I think, out of the big plays by the Miami players, by Vogel.
C.J. Fuller again. Jermaine Grace, the tackle. Tonight on ABC, top-ranked Ohio State trying to stay undefeated. They're in New Jersey to take on Rutgers, which gave Michigan State quite a battle all the way to the end a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey. That's tonight at 8, 5 Pacific. ABC's Saturday Night Football presented by Walmart.
See a new quarterback in J.T. Barrett. An offense will operate at a higher tempo with J.T.
Fuller again. Ezekiel Elliott, by the way, 12 straight 100-yard games. Dating back to last season, the big news of this week, J.T. Barrett will take over as the starter for Cardale Jones. They've been more effective in terms of yards per play with Barrett in there.
And in the red zone, Sean. 12 for 12 when J.T. Barrett's in the red zone for touchdowns.
And I thought it was interesting watching the tape last week. When they got into the red zone, they would bring J.T. Barrett in. And then when they were backed up in their own end zone or within the first 5 yards, they brought J.T. Barrett in. So it started to show me last week that Coach Myers giving a lot more has a lot more trust in J.T. Barrett than he does Cardale. Listen, Cardale Jones made a tough decision. Should he come back or should he go to the NFL a year ago after 3 games? And I've talked to scouts that say he could have gone as high as the 2nd round. Very difficult spot to be in, because when you get in the league, you're not going to be ready to play, and you don't know how to play the NFL game. So I think even though people will think I'm crazy, I think he made a smart decision to come back to get more game experience. Even though it's not working out very well, he's still going to wind up getting drafted. But J.T. Barrett, in my opinion, much better fit for what they have without a Devin Smith, who's a vertical receiver. They've got a lot of guys that can create after the catch, and Barrett's a better distributor.
Well, he put record numbers up. And the other thing, too, just to go back to your point about Cardale Jones, we talk about evaluation and scouts, and nobody's better than Todd McShay. And one thing Todd will be looking at, along with other scouts, is how does Cardale Jones handle the benching? Is he going to be able to mentally handle it, or is he going to go in the tank? That's something to keep an eye on.
On the delay, C.J. Fuller again. Quan Johnson came up to deliver the blow. Been kind of a rough day for Todd McShay. Todd played quarterback at Richmond. And Richmond, the opponent tonight at James Madison, game they originated from JMU with a huge crowd this morning.
I like the shake weight one. I can testify that's not true.
Thank you.
Todd McShay throws iron around.
Thank you, Spielman. You found a vein this week.
Yeah, I did. That was the biggest upset of the week. We were doing arms in the weight room, and I actually saw a vein come out of Todd's arm. Really? I didn't see that. It took me a year and a half to get that.
I don't know where the camera is, but
not close enough to see a muscle on that body. That's for sure.
There's no shake weight here.
Andy Teasdale
58-0, huh?
Yeah. I'm just glad that torrential rain has stopped for you, Todd. Won't take any damage. Corn Elder, the return. Aerial coverage of Todd McShay provided by Goodyear, whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away. Go with the tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
Yeah, I made the mistake on College Football Live of giving a little pep talk to the Spiders this week, and I think the JMU people they took exception to it.
Well,
I don't know where this camera is. Oh, there he is.
No, it's actually at the other end of the field, but that's okay.
Wrong?
No, just look toward the other end zone. Down there. There you go.
Know your strengths, Todd.
Jeez.
I know it's tough to see through all the people surrounding our cameras here right now.
What is it, week 9?
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, we work out every Friday morning, and Chris forgets that maybe he played in the NFL. He did. Todd and I did not, although your expectation level is very high. We get that disappointed dad face every week when we're struggling to do what the average NFL strong safety should do in the weight room. But you've been very critical of Todd's weightlifting form. All of a sudden, you're nice today, but
yeah, well, he's improving. And he's had poor technique in the past, and he's not using the weights of my daughter Audrey anymore, so we're improving in that area. And so there's a lot of good things from Todd.
I'm sure the 9 people that are still watching this game right now are dying to hear about my weightlifting technique.
Now it's 7.
Thank you. Please.
Trayon Gray is slow to get up, and here's Robert Flores.
All right, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Nate Sudfeld and Indiana will take on Michigan State, coming off that thrilling win in Ann Arbor. And Baker Mayfield will lead Oklahoma at home against Texas Tech. Both games, 3:30 Eastern, either ABC or ESPN2. McShay, do you even lift, bro?
Oh, boy.
That rope flows on him.
Even taking shots from the studio.
I'm thinking about that Indiana-Michigan State game, and I thought it was such a privilege for you and I to be on the call last week for Michigan and Michigan State.
It can change dramatically one week to the next.
Yeah, I think, Indiana's a team, if healthy, with Howard at running back and Sudfeld at quarterback, they can put points up. And sometimes, Sean, a devastating loss can have the same effect as a close win like that. There could be a hangover effect, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen to Michigan State, but that's something that very well could happen.
Well, Mark D'Antonio said during the week he is certain that is not going to happen, and if there's ever a coach and a staff with the intensity to make sure all week long that the focus remains where it should be, D'Antonio is that coach. Gray limping off. We've talked about the crowds here, Chris, and it's sparse now. It wasn't that big to begin with, but they're making some very nice changes here that you would think going forward will help. They've actually taken about 10,000 seats out, reduced the capacity down to about 64,000. You see the big chunks in the corner there, the upper deck. There used to be seats up there, but they're going to put video boards up there instead, and they're going to hang canopies over the stands that will cover about 92% of it. So 92% of the fans who come here in future years will be in the shade. It's not a lot of fun to come here for an early afternoon game, early in the football season. It's 100 degrees, and you're just sitting out there roasting.
Right.
So it should make it a more pleasant experience. That 8% that's not going to be covered, by the way, is the visiting sideline and the stands right behind the visiting sideline.
That's a good move on their part. The other thing, and let's be honest, winning brings people to games, and it's just not consistency that Al Gold needs or has on his football team right now that are going to bring fans.
Walter Tucker carried on the last play, his first carry of the day, and Van Smith made a tackle, and now Tucker drops the ball. College football action tonight on ESPN, a doubleheader, 7 Eastern, college football primetime presented by Hilton, Texas A&M, and 24th ranked Ole Miss. And at 10:30 Eastern, Washington and Stanford. The Cardinal now ranked number 10. That's all tonight, starting at 7. That A&M Ole Miss game is the only game this week matching two teams ranked in the AP top 25.
And Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville on that call for the network.
Justin Vogel's 10th punt of the day. Jermon Hopper. Fair catch at the 24. 46-yard punt for Vogel. He's had a strong day. He's had plenty of practice. Here's Robert Flores back in the studio.
All right, Sean. For a second consecutive week, Pittsburgh kicker Chris Blewett with a game-winning field goal. This one gets the Panthers past Syracuse at the Carrier Dome, 23-20. Sorry, Sean.
Oh,
they're close, Sean.
Oh, boy. You know, they lost in overtime last week at Virginia. Remember when Syracuse was 3-0 and I said, don't sleep on the orange?
Yes, I do.
Can I have that one back?
Yes, you may. You get a mulligan.
4 straight losses. We will see the Syracuse orange.
Florida State next week. Excited to see Everett Colson.
Yep. Noon next week on ABC. That's one of those games. Florida State can't look past Syracuse. They're dangerous enough if you don't pay attention. They actually gave LSU a pretty good battle a few weeks back at the Carrier Dome. And same thing next week for Dabo Swinney and Clemson. They're at NC State right before the big matchup in a couple of weeks with Florida State.
Yeah, I think it's the ACC is very competitive, a lot of parity in the league. Dabo made an interesting comment too about Dalvin Cook, the fine running back from Florida State. Liked Dalvin Cook better than Leonard Fournette. That took a lot of people were criticizing him a little bit. Dalvin Cook's a different type of back than Leonard Fournette. Both are outstanding in what they do. Dalvin Cook is as dangerous. And remember last year, Sean, as you look at the schedule of Florida State, when Dalvin Cook was inserted into that game instead of Carlos Williams, Dalvin Cook was the difference maker for the Florida State Seminoles last year in that offense when he became the main ball carrier.
Ticking down to a minute to go. A lot of people think Florida State hasn't gotten enough credit. They lost a lot of people from a year ago. We'll certainly find out how good both of those teams are in 2 weeks. But this is a good win, the hurdle they needed to overcome. Dabo said he really isn't paying any attention to the rankings yet. They're only halfway through the season. There's a lot that can happen. A lot of people believe an ACC team can't get into the playoff unless it's undefeated. But I think that's ridiculous to say because you don't know what's going to happen everywhere else. I mean, teams could keep knocking each other off all over the place.
Well, and this team is as talented as anybody watched this year. I haven't seen a team as talented and as balanced as Clemson. I mean, I've seen teams equal, but none better. And they're making a statement today. And
I know for one thing, it's the best looking third unit that we've seen on both sides of the ball, and we've seen more of them. And for Al Golden, it's the worst loss in school history. And when you're fighting to keep your job, this doesn't help. Obviously. And that's a huge understatement. Big hug from Dabo Swinney. His peers know what a good man he is. Al Golden has a great reputation in the game, but this is a marriage that's looking like it isn't going to last much longer here in South Florida. Season high 567 yards of offense for Clemson. Final score is 58-0. Coming up next on ABC, Michigan State and Indiana, or Texas Tech and Oklahoma. You can't find that game on ABC. It means that game is on ESPN2. For Todd McShay, Chris Spielman, and our crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from South Florida.